This is CBC Nova Scotia News.
Lease granted. Nova Scotia allows the use of land and water for a proposed whale sanctuary against property owners' wishes. Dismissed. Former residents and descendants of Africville dumped the board of directors of their genealogy society. And
a taste of Montreal in Wolfville. We're at the 15th annual Devour, the Food Film Fest.
Scattered showers and the risk for a thunderstorm overnight, but we're clearing the skies for Thursday. Your full forecast is coming up.
good evening. The province has granted a lease for land and water on the eastern shore for a whale sanctuary, despite opposition from some landowners in the area. But the group that wants to build it says while the agreement is a big win, there are still many hurdles to overcome before they'll be ready to adopt any animals. Taryn Grant reports.
Nova Scotia is granting a lease for 80 hectares of land and water to the whale sanctuary project. The nonprofit group's CEO says it's a major milestone.
It clears the path for us to move forward with construction, with more capital fundraising.
Vinnick says his team can now finalize the sale of 12 hectares of adjacent private land, then start making nets to create an enclosure and build all the other infrastructure it will require. The goal is to create a home for up to 10 whales who have been retired from theme parks and aquariums. The project was previously stalled because Vinnick's group could not get unanimous consent from nearby landowners. Premier Tim Houston told reporters Wednesday it was time to change the rules because consensus was not realistic. The group still has to raise money, get federal permits, and find whales that it can bring to Nova Scotia. Vinnick is hoping to get some of the belugas from marine land in Ontario, but the shuttered theme park has said it does not think the site in Nova Scotia is appropriate.
Marine land does own these animals, and odd as it is for a sentient being to be owned by another person, it is the case and it is the law. So certainly this solution will take action by the province, by the Provincial Animal Welfare Agency, PAWS, and perhaps by the federal government.
Even if the situation with marine land does not change, Vinnick says there's no shortage of captive whales around the globe that need a new home. The province's approval garnered praise from some of the project's supporters, including the St. Mary's River Association. The stewardship group says it's a win for whales, and it could be a win for the sleepy eastern shore.
Perhaps we can get those tourism numbers up and draw people up up from metro area, from Halifax, Dartmouth area into our little neck of the woods and bring people in to not only see whales, but to enjoy the freshwater river system and the ecologically significance of the area that we live in.
Taryn Grant, CBC News, Halifax.
RCMP in Colchester County have charged 2 young people with aggravated assault following a, quote, unprovoked and vicious attack on another young person in August. The assault was captured on video. It showed a youth being repeatedly kicked and struck. Police determined the assault took place at the exhibition grounds in Bible Hill. The victim suffered serious injuries and was threatened with death if they went to police. The 2 youth facing charges were released on conditions and will appear in Youth Provincial Court on October the 27th. Former residents and descendants of the historic Black community of Africville have voted to dismiss the current board of directors of the Africville Genealogy Society, arguing it is in violation of its own bylaws. As the CBC's Gareth Hampshire tells us, the vote happened at a special meeting following years of concerns around accountability.
The move to oust the board and president of the Africville Genealogy Society happened in a vote at a special meeting last month. It was called after a petition was circulated at the annual family reunion picnic in July. Close to 100 people signed it, asking the board to hold an election. Some community members say they've been pushing for one for more than 20 years, citing what they see as a lack of accountability. There was no response to the petition, organizers say, and so a vote followed.
We want a board that's going to work for the people, for the community. And by not showing up and not having these elections and being in violation of the bylaws, that doesn't look good on paper.
Documents filed with Nova Scotia's Registry of Joint Stock Companies reveal details of the meeting. The papers filed show the Society's bylaws dictate an election should be held every 3 years. Longtime President Irvin Carvery has not commented. However, Sean Mantley, who served alongside him on the Society's board, released a statement describing the vote as unlawful. Mantley's statement said the Society's board recently held elections with its members on October 18th. It said Irvin Carvery did not reoffer and Mantley was nominated and voted in as the new president. Information he intends to take to joint stocks. But the group that organized the vote to dismiss the board says it followed procedures correctly and had already chosen an interim president last month. That is Randon Wright, whose mother grew up in Africville.
We're still fighting and arguing about things that have been ongoing for decades. There's been no resolution yet. So that tells me that our current situation and our current leaders aren't doing what they need to do in order to bring that unity that we need.
An election scheduled to take place on Saturday at the Halifax North End Library. Mantley says he will not be there, but Wright intends to run. Gareth Hampshire, CBC News, Halifax.
Ridership numbers on the Cat Ferry between Nova Scotia and Maine continue to fall. Bay Ferries, which operates the service between Yarmouth and Bar Harbor, says it saw more than 39,000 passengers in the 2025 season, which ended last week. That's about a 20% drop from the 2024 season. The company says a significant drop in Canadian bookings is the number one factor in the decline, but U.S. bookings remain steady. Meanwhile, ferry crossings between Caribou, Nova Scotia and Wood Island's Prince Edward Island are cancelled this evening. Northumberland Ferry says it's due to high winds in the forecast. Regular ferry service is expected to resume at 7 o'clock Thursday morning. And Ryan Snoddon with us now to talk weather. So breezy for some people in Nova Scotia.
Yeah, that's right. Those south winds are going to be increasing through this evening for everybody. Sustain near 30, gusting 40 to 50 kilometers per hour. So a breezy night, lots of leaves flying around, no question about that. And the wet weather that's coming with those winds. With even the risk of a rumble of thunder with this line coming in overnight tonight. Generally, we're going to be looking at 5 to 10 millimeters, a little less in the northeast, a little more along the Atlantic coastline where we could squeak into some 10 to 15, even 20 millimeter amounts locally. Now, in terms of the timing of this, again, already underway, western areas, and we'll continue to track eastward through the evening into the overnight. By the time we get to Thursday morning, some lingering showers for Cape Breton. The mainland, pretty much dry other than maybe a couple of drops for Antigonish and into Guysborough County, but those quickly clearing away, including that shower activity in Cape Breton. And we're looking at quite a bit of sunshine for Thursday, and yes, looking fairly quiet as we move into the weekend as well, but temperatures cooling off. We'll talk about it with your full 7-day forecast coming up in a couple of minutes, Tom.
Looking forward to that. Thanks so much, Ryan.
Thank you.
Well, it is a big night in Wolfville. Foodies and film lovers are gathering for the opening gala of Devour, the food film fest. And that's where Amy joins us now live. Good evening, Amy.
Hey, Tom. Well, things are really happening down here. Lots of people milling about, lots of food, lots of drinks. This is the 15th year for Devour, and this year's theme is Montreal All-Stars. But tonight is all about local food, and, you know, being a good journalist, I went around the room and had to sample some, Eel Lake oysters, beef cheek poutine, striped bass. There was a lovely pork tart, so very good food. They've got some local cider and wine. But it's not just about the food, it's also about the films. They're expecting about 10,000 people to take in all of the events this weekend. There's going to be some live music, a Louisiana Zydeco band, something called a Montreal Night Market. And then they're having a Poutine Smackdown on Saturday. Now, tonight's opening film is a film called Blueberry Grunt, and after that, the band Blueberry Grunt is going to play, and they're serving the dessert. And I managed to snag some for myself, and I saved a little room for it, so bon appetit.
I'll bet it's good, too. Okay, Amy, thanks very much. We'll check in with you a little bit later. Well, quick action by fishermen in northern Cape Breton has helped save 3 stranded pilot whales on Tuesday afternoon. Kyle Moore has that story.
When Mark Rankin and his friend discovered these helpless pilot whales on the shores of Port Hood, they knew they had to act fast.
We stripped down and said we may as well try, and see if we can do something for these poor guys. We got one out, and he kind of came back to and took off into deeper water, and then we got the second one back, and he was a little bit weaker, and he took a little while, and we got him into deeper water, and he held himself there for a while and started getting his breath back.
The third whale also took off, but it's not the first time something like this has happened in Port Hood. In 2023, around 10 pilot whales washed up on the shore near the community. A much better outcome this time around.
These animals, very luckily, were still in the water, so they weren't completely high and dry, which can, add to the stress of the animals and the heat and things like that.
Members of the Marine Animal Response Society were en route to help on Tuesday. Wimmer says pilot whales are known for mass strandings, but it's unclear why.
There's been a lot of different kinds of theories of whether it's they just happened to be eating food and got caught too close to shore and the tide went down. Sometimes in areas where there's beautiful sandy beaches that are quite gently sloping, the sonar that they use, kind of like bats, to locate where they are, it can get a little bit messed up as the clicks kind of don't tell them the right information.
Mark Rankin says it feels good to do the right thing.
We're from a pretty close-knit community, and most of us are fishermen, and a good portion of us anyway, and we're, the ocean's our home, so we got to take care of it.
Kyle Moore, CBC News, Sydney.
In the world of style, few are more iconic than global pop superstar Sir Elton John. Now he's lending his fame to a competition that's searching for someone who's a style icon. It's in support of his Elton John AIDS Foundation. Out of the nearly 85,000 competitors from Canada and the U.S., a Halifax man is ranked #1 in his group. Elizabeth Chu has that story.
My name is Rishabh Arora. I also go by Rish. I'm a dad. I am a songwriter. I'm a model. And on top of this, I have a full-time job and I work in insurance. And I'm also running for Style Icon right now.
You've got flair and the world needs to see it.
Join us in our search for the next Style Icon.
This competition is about using your voice and your platform for good.
Like three and a half weeks ago, I was going through my Instagram, saw that Sir Elton John's organization is running this contest. I couldn't believe my eyes. Style is something, and then supporting a charity at the same time. Like, that's a deadly combination. The story I'm trying to convey right now is dreams do come true. If you look at my shot, so I'm wearing a blue velvet jacket and a white shirt, which is modern, which is more Canadian or North American, but I wanted to give it a flair of India too. So that silk scarf is from India. I call myself half Indian, half Canadian. I've always been a fashion enthusiast, but if you ask me, I would say the last couple of years, 2.5 years, I have decided, okay, I have to reinvent myself. I was going through some tough times. Rather than going into depression, I would rather invest in myself, invest in my style, and I will channelize my energy in being stylish.
So look good, feel good.
Absolutely. I'm very influenced by my father, the way he dressed. My dad died when he was 46. So back then he had a dozen suits and all different style, all different colors. So I think I get it from him too. For the past 8 days, I have been #1 in my group. I have never even gone to #2, so that's overwhelming. That's a blessing.
And if you win, who are you representing?
I am representing everyone who dreams or who wants to dream big or who wants to make something out of their life. I come from a very small town in India. So moving from there to Delhi was a big step. Coming from there to Canada was another major step. And then started working on my passion, which is songwriting and modeling, at the age of 44. So if I could motivate people with my songs, with my modeling, or with my Style Icon win, that you can dream too, and there's no age bar, there's no age limit, that would be something I would like to achieve.
And good luck to him. A look at Wolfville today. Ryan back with your full weather forecast right after this.
This weather update is brought to you in part by Atlantic Lottery's iGames. Play hundreds of games on the Atlantic Lottery app or at alc.ca.
All right, your full weather forecast now. Ryan Snoddon with us. And yeah, nice to see some showers in the forecast and some showers coming down here in Halifax.
Yeah, that's right. We're watching that line kind of tracking in from west to east. And most of the wet weather right now from the valley back into the Tri-County area. And not going to be enough, saying it every time. But 5 to 10 millimeters, kind of a widespread shot for tonight. A little bit more in some areas, a little less in others. Have a look at our webcam view. This is a shot updating every few seconds from Cape Forshue.
Life's beautiful there, isn't it? Sun setting behind.
Yeah. Damp pavement though, and so there's been some recent showers rolling through there, and we'll show you the radar in just a second, and certainly some showers still in the mix there in through Yarmouth County. As we look at the temperatures, 16 degrees in Yarmouth right now. We've got 17 at Bacaro, and temps ranging between 14 and 15 across Cape Breton, 17 and 18 degrees in through the valley. There are those southerly winds which have been on the increase today. now sustained at 39 at last check at Lunenburg. So even a little bit stronger than forecast there. Should be around 30, gusting to 50 through the overnight tonight. Greenwood not far from that mark right now, gusting to 46. And there's the shower activity. As I said, the valley in through the Tri-County area has been where we've been seeing kind of the bulk of the shower activity over the last little bit. A couple of isolated showers rolling up ahead of that line, approaching the Halifax County area, Eastern Shore, and we'll continue to watch this, tracking in. Lightning detection has picked up a strike here over the last little bit, just in through interior parts of Shelburne County. So can't rule out a couple of rumbles of thunder here as this line does move through. The center of this low back across the Great Lakes, and it is feeling very fallish under this low. And that air mass will be working its way in through our neck of the woods over the next few days. 5 in Winnipeg right now, 6 in Thunder Bay. Toronto just at 10 degrees. And yeah, temps into the low to mid-teens across most of the west. A little cooler in Vancouver. As we look at the forecast for tonight, the winds from the south, as I said, gusting to 50 and then shifting to southwest overnight, 20 with some gusts to 30. The southeast winds across Cape Breton tonight, gusting to 50 for most, but gusting to 70 in Lacewet winds for Inverness County. So let's show you the timeline, and most of that wet weather tracking up through the metro area before midnight. By the time we get into the 6 a.m. time frame, we're looking at those lingering clouds and showers for Cape Breton and Antigonish. Guysborough, possibly a couple of drops there. Further to the west, will have already cleared by the time we're hustling and bustling out the door on Thursday morning. We are looking at that clear out continuing for Cape Breton. The west, again, a beautiful day from start to finish. Now, this model in particular, throwing up a couple of very isolated showers late tomorrow afternoon and into tomorrow evening. And if there's going to be any of these isolated showers popping up, it's going to be from Cumberland back into the valley and down towards the Yarmouth area. But if we do see them here, I'm expecting them to be very isolated in nature, but certainly can't rule it out completely. Temperatures ranging between 16 and 19 for most of Cape Breton. As the winds become southwest, favorable for temps to squeak up close to 20 in through Ingonish and Victoria County. Temperatures 17 to 18 across the eastern shore and for the Northumberland shore tomorrow. Into central areas, 15 to 17 degrees here, and back into the west, 15 to 17 as well, with the winds from the southwest, 20. Gusting 30 to 40 kilometers per hour. Now, as we look at the forecast for Friday, temperatures ranging here between about 14 and 17 again. Chance for some showers for Cape Breton on Friday. Now, the forecast model has been trending a little bit earlier with this little wave that's expected to clip Cape Breton. Now looking more likely for Friday morning and then a gradual clear out into the afternoon. But we'll be keeping watch of that, updating you right here tomorrow night. Now, for Saturday, also a trend, a little bit brighter. Yes, I do think there'll be some clouds in the mix. Chance for a shower for Cape Breton and eastern areas on Saturday afternoon. Maybe a very isolated risk down towards the south and west as well, but it does look overall brighter. A mix of sun and cloud now on Saturday. Temperatures, though, are going to be cooler. We should be around 12 degrees this time of year. I'm expecting that's where we'll be and about that range for Saturday and Sunday. Sunday does look a little bit cloudier than Saturday with some breaks of sun in there and maybe an isolated shower again, but even less chance than on Saturday. Better chance for showers Monday as we kind of ride that seasonal mark into the last week of October, Tom.
Yeah, it doesn't sound bad at all. Okay, thanks so much, Ryan.
Thank you.
All right, let's head back down to Wolfville now, where the opening gala of the Devour Film and Food Festival is well underway. And Amy, you have some guests with you.
I sure do. I'm here with Joel Hines. He's one of the stars of tonight's opening film, Blueberry Grunt. And I have Michael Howell, one of the founders of this whole festival. Started 15 years ago, and what a ride it's been. Talk to me about what that's been like.
Well, thanks, Amy. You know, what began as a project of Slow Food Nova Scotia 15 years ago to sort of help change how we think about the food system and also do a little bit of shoulder season economic development in the Annapolis Valley has turned into the world's largest food film festival right here in Nova Scotia. We couldn't be more proud, Leah and I, of the team, of the supporters, of all the people that have brought it about. And then our patrons, John Lindsay and Ann Campbell, who helped envision this building that we're now in. So now, not only are we 15 years in, but we have a permanent home to grow our festival and many, many other organizations and grow community and culture here in the Annapolis Valley.
And you've had some very big names come here. What's the draw for them and what do they get out of it?
Look, I think this unique fusion of food and film is different for most people. People go to films and people go to dining events, but when you bring them together, it's a new experience. We've always looked at it like you're tasting the screen, and we're going to see that tonight in our opening night film later on. But this whole idea that you can actually capture a sense by looking at it and then bringing it to life by putting it in front of you has attracted luminaries like Gordon Pinsent, like Jason Priestley, like Bill Pullman and Anthony Bourdain, of course, and my personal favorite, Jacques Pepin, who we've done 4 events with over time.
Yes, some big names for sure. And of course, Joel, you're the star of tonight's big movie. Blueberry Grunt, what is it in a nutshell? Can you tell me a bit about the story?
Blueberry Grunt is a sort of a romantic comedy in a sense, depending on your sense of humor, set in Newfoundland. It's about a husband and wife who go off on their annual blueberry picking camping trip, and their marriage sort of hits a major wall, and halfway through it becomes a bit of a survival story. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Not to give the ending away, but does Blueberry Grunt sort of smooth over some marital rough patches?
Yes. There's a growth spurt that's forced in the middle of the movie. And then in the end, we all have Blueberry Grunt. Nova Scotia style, I might add. We have a different version of Blueberry Grunt in Newfoundland, but in the film, it's Nova Scotia version.
Okay, so you're staying authentic.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks very much. Looking forward to the movie tonight. Yeah, lots of fun down here tonight. Very busy and lots of movies and lots of food.
Wonder whose Blueberry Grunt is the best. We won't go there, though, will we? All right, Amy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Coming up, we go back to Wolfville to see what Amy is cooking up at Devour with a chef from one of the top-ranked restaurants in Canada.
has one of the top-ranked restaurants in all of Canada, and he's a big draw here at Devour Film and Food Festival. I'm here with Ari Shore with Restaurant Beba from Montreal. So this year's theme is Montreal All-Stars, and you certainly fit the bill. Talk to me a bit about the Montreal food scene. What makes it so special?
I find that, one of the things that people always say, it's just like food always tastes a little bit different in Montreal. It tastes like the seasoning's harder, things are a little bit richer, a little bit stronger flavored, but what I see is a lot of food history. I see hundreds of years of farming and just old world food history that really kind of like brings the flavor to the forefront.
And what are you excited about being here in Wolfville?
Honestly, just driving in was so exciting already, seeing all the leaves and everything. I'm just excited to hang out with people actually from Montreal, my colleagues and friends that I don't get to see that much because they're all working so hard and making new connections, meeting new people, and kind of like experiencing it.
Now, having a top-ranked restaurant, that's a lot of pressure, isn't it?
It's a lot. Yeah.
How do you deal with it?
I spend a lot of time with my kids. Yeah. It kind of helps me stay grounded, when I cook for them and they're like, yeah, Daddy, it's good, but it's a bit salty, don't you think? And then you try it and you're like, she's right, But yeah, try to disconnect whenever I can. It's very hard being chef owner, you always feel like there's something to do, and there always is, but you kind of have to set boundaries.
Yeah. Well, you're cooking up. For Friday night, you've got something with the chefs and shorts.
That's right.
Tell me a bit about your dish and what it means to you.
So this dish was actually inspired by a movie that's connected to it that was supposed to inspire me to come up with a dish. And the movie itself was was about a young man who's preparing this dish that reminds him of, or that was also prepared by his great aunt. And so I was thinking, okay, that ties in perfectly to my restaurant. We named Beba after my grandmother, who's no longer with us. So what if I created a dish that she would kind of make on occasion, but my way, with the flavors that we're used to today at the restaurant?
And so you've got guinea hen.
Yeah, that's right. Guinea hen. Guinea hen is one of our favorite ingredients at the restaurant. Honestly, it's so delicious. It's it's a far cry from your everyday chicken. Very beautiful fat, very rich. Even you can see the breasts don't have the very you look at a supermarket chicken and it's very white, and this has a lot of fat content, as you can see, especially around the wings and in the actual meat, skin right here. And so what we did here is I took all the skin of the bird off. This is a very, very classic balatin, which is a very, very classic preparation, and it ties in perfectly to what we try to do at the restaurant. We have a few really fun ingredients here. We have corned beef tongue, which we make at the restaurant. We have it on hand all the time. It's actually impossible to keep up.
So you brought that on the plane?
I brought that on the plane. Yeah, I brought everything on the plane. We also have another really fun ingredient for us. That one is called the foie blanc de pintade, or the blonde liver of the guinea fowl. Guinea fowls are vicious birds. They eat like crazy, as you can see from all the extra fat content that they have there. The reason why this dish works, especially for relating it to the film, is these are all things that I grew up eating. You know what I mean? Like the beef tongue, growing up in Argentina, there's beef tongue, there's liver, there's offal. The key thing with this is just kind of keeping all the ingredients, cut to a specific small size. What we do here is we just kind of fold in the meat with the corned tongue. The raw meat binds with all the cooked stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
Pressing it all together. And then, this is my favorite part, is kind of like putting them together. You take a breast of the guinea fowl and a piece of the leg, like this. And again, it should be it's hard to see it, until you kind of put it all together and you cook it. But it should all look very inviting and appetizing. It shouldn't be hidden. It shouldn't be you should be able to showcase all the beautiful components that you have in this dish in a simple manner. You have the flavor of the skin, which you eat. You have the flavor of the breast, which is definitely a lot milder. Then you have the thigh, which is a little bit, stronger in flavor and a little bit darker. So then what we're gonna do is, so that it looks really beautiful when we cut it later, we do the thigh on the opposite side as
Okay.
what we did before. Same thing with the breast.
So that cooks evenly that way? Is that the...
Yeah, exactly. And you also, when you cut into it, and you're gonna have like a slice of this, you have a bit of the breast, you have a bit of the leg, you know, everybody's happy. And this is where it all kind of comes together. That's it. And then you very, very carefully, but very gently. And again, it's not, you know, it doesn't, I love things that look like, you know, not what they're gonna end up looking like in the end. And we're gonna let it set. And then after we do this, the next day, usually we will bake it.
All right, through the magic of television, we have one that's already been done.
That's right.
So this was baking for how long?
It cooks for about 2 hours until it reaches, you know, a very specific temperature. And then all we do is cut nice, generous slices of them and serve them. So that's what you want to see. You want to see the bits of tongue, liver. You know, this is very, very old school stuff.
Beautiful.
So you want to really see that. And so we'll do a little portion for you.
Please.
We're serving it with a sauce that I learned while working at Liverpool House in Montreal as well. It's called sauce albufera. More rich stuff. It's a reduction of like chicken stock with lots of white wine and roasted red peppers. We had a farmer that just cleared out their fields. So
okay, good.
we took advantage of that, and foie gras and butter and brandy.
It's diet.
Yeah,
Chili,
that's
right?
it.
That's
It's very,
low-cal.
very, very low cal. No, but you eat a small slice and you have a good time, and then you take a nap. So that's that.
Sounds perfect. All right, now I get a taste?
Perfect. Yeah.
All right.
And I think the sauce really kind of like brings everything together, like, you know, a lot of strong flavors tamed with a really strong sauce at the same time. You know?
That is amazing.
It's good.
Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the festival.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
Coming up, the International Court of Justice rules Israel must allow UN relief into Gaza to supply much-needed aid. And public outcry as demolition work begins on the historic East Wing of the White House to make room for Trump's $200 million ballroom. Welcome back. The International Court of Justice says Israel must allow the UN aid agency to provide humanitarian aid in Gaza. The UN General Assembly asked the court to issue an opinion on Israel's legal obligations after Israel effectively banned the agency UNRWA from operating in Gaza. The CBC's Crystal Gamansing reports from Jerusalem.
The International Court of Justice found in its advisory opinion that Israel has not been adequately supplying the necessities of life to the population in Gaza. Now, in the court today, when it was reading that decision, it said that it is the obligation of every occupying power under international law and as a member of the Geneva Convention, which Israel is. Now, the court said that combating terrorism is never a reason to negate responsibilities under international law, and that a nation can never invoke security concerns as a reason to not provide aid. And the court did note that Israel halted all aid supplies into Gaza between March 2nd and May 18th. Now, it did say that occupying powers have the right to choose the agency that would supply those needed items. However, that agency has to be able to provide those items at scale.
Other provisions of the Fourth Geneva Convention confirm that aid can be impeded only temporarily and for narrowly circumscribed reasons. For example, the second sentence of Article 60 provides that, and I quote, "The occupying power shall in no way whatsoever divert relief consignments from the purpose for which they are intended."
Even with the ceasefire, even with the 20-point U.S. peace plan, not enough aid is actually getting into Gaza. Recently, on a good day, they have about 100 trucks entering. On a bad day, less. The agreement called for 600 trucks per day.
Right now, we're only able to use 2 crossings into the Gaza Strip. We have no crossing at all in the north, and we really desperately, urgently need to have a crossing point into the north. If we had more crossing points, we would be able to deliver more aid, and we have a lot of aid sitting outside the Gaza Strip.
A lot of attention right now on this region, and with this ICJ decision, a lot more focus will be coming on to the issue of humanitarian aid and opening up more crossings. Crystal Gamansing, CBC News, Jerusalem.
Russia launched drone and missile attacks all across Ukraine overnight, killing at least 6 people, including 2 children, and causing power outages across the war-torn country. Ukrainian officials say it was a targeted campaign against its energy system as U.S.-led peace efforts flounder. The CBC's Anna Cunningham reports.
It was another intense night of Russian strikes on Ukraine. This was the capital, Kyiv. The sound of those explosions being heard overnight and into the morning. And in the eastern city of Kharkiv, this was the aftermath of a strike on a kindergarten. You can see children's scooters still standing amid the rubble. Ukraine's emergency services say that 48 children were taken to a safe location. Ukraine's military says more than 400 drones and missiles were launched by Russia in waves of strikes. That drone seen smashing directly into a residential apartment block. Images like this also seen overnight in the southeastern Zaporizhzhia region. Firefighters there dousing the flames as rescue workers entered apartments, some of them having to break doors to get to residents and bring them to safety. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has condemned the attacks, saying Russian words about diplomacy mean nothing. He's been on a visit to Norway and Sweden. Speaking at Oslo Airport, he was asked about President Donald Trump's latest efforts to bring about peace.
You saw messages, public messages from Trump. He proposed stay where we stay and begin conversation. I think that was good compromise, but I'm not sure that Putin will support it, and I said it to the president.
Ukraine's military says it targeted a chemical plant inside Russia last night. It also says it hit a mechanical plant and an oil refinery. Russia now says that it's calling up reservists to protect its own infrastructure facilities in response to Ukraine's increased long-range drone strikes. But there's been some mixed messages on the possibility of a Trump-Putin meeting, with Russia's foreign minister saying preparations remain ongoing. That contradicts the message from the White House that said the Budapest summit had been shelved. Anna Cunningham, CBC News, London.
Construction has begun on Donald Trump's new ballroom at the White House, and it's prompting widespread condemnation. Many public officials and private citizens are expressing shock at how much of the historic East Wing was demolished. The CBC's Willie Lowry has the details from Washington.
This project is really the fulfillment of a long-held dream of President Donald Trump's to build a ballroom that befits a president at the White House. And it's going to be big, really big. The White House says it will be 90,000 square feet with room for over 600 people. And the price tag is pretty big too, $200 million US. And Trump insists that much of the money will come from private donors.
We're putting up our own money with the government is paying for nothing. You probably hear the beautiful sound of construction to the back. You hear that sound? Oh, that's music to my ears. I love that sound.
Some have accused the White House of allowing donors to buy access. The White House initially said that there would be no structural changes to the existing building, but that appears not to be the case. Photos and videos show much of the East Wing being demolished, and that's raised concern among historians that the East Wing, home to the First Lady's office, may be irrevocably changed. There's also fear that the ballroom will dwarf the existing White House. It's expected to be nearly 35,000 square feet larger than the current building. Former Secretary of State and First Lady Hillary Clinton expressed outrage on social media. She said, quote, "It's not his house, it's your house, and he's destroying it." The National Trust for Historic Preservation urged the White House to pause construction so plans could be properly reviewed. And for those visiting the area yesterday, it was a shocking sight.
This is America's house. This house does not belong to any one official. It belongs to the people. And so if you're going to, demolish a part of this house, you have to ask the people permission.
I think everything that's happening here is pretty shocking and not a great sign of the times.
It's just a developer doing what a developer does and trying to not caring about anything except their own profit and image.
The Trump administration has dismissed concerns, calling it, quote, manufactured outrage. Willie Lowry, CBC News, Washington.
The Louvre Museum reopened to the public 3 days after that audacious jewelry heist. As you can see, the lineup to get in is a long one. As the hunt for thieves continues, French President Emmanuel Macron has ordered increased security measures at the famed Paris Museum. The thieves made off with some of France's prized crown jewels in a raid that lasted only a few minutes. A public prosecutor says they are collectively worth more than $140 million. The jewelry taken included a tiara with more than 200 pearls and a necklace made up of dozens of eye-popping emeralds. The museum's director today acknowledged what she called a terrible failure. She also says she offered to resign, but it was refused. Toronto is set to host Game 1 of the World Series on Friday, but Blue Jay fans are concerned they'll be priced out of attending the games. Many are frustrated to see tickets disappearing in a flash online, only to reappear at an inflated price tag. Now Ontario's Premier says he wants to review the issue. Nisha Patel reports.
Blue Jays fans raced to score a ticket to watch the World Series. Hundreds of thousands were in the online queue. Many came up empty-handed.
I was like 800 in the queue, and I just took too long.
I didn't even bother trying.
It's so unfair, and it's so frustrating.
For the first World Series game in more than 30 years, and fans from across the country vying for just 40,000 seats, demand is extremely high. Season ticket holders were able to buy days before the general public. Face value tickets reportedly cost $500 each. But some tickets were promptly listed for resale at huge markups. Now the cheapest tickets available on Ticketmaster, more than $2,500.
To think that people from who knows where bought these tickets and just jacked them up immediately, it's just so disheartening.
Greg Overmon's hoped to take his young son to the game. He says Ticketmaster and its practices deserve more scrutiny.
To me, it's just wondering how can that system be more fair to people who are real fans.
CBC reached out to Ticketmaster with questions. We didn't hear back.
My personal opinion, I got to talk to the whole team, but they're gouging the people. When you have one player in the market that controls the tickets, that's not right for the people.
Ontario had rules that would limit resale ticket prices. The Ford government scrapped them in 2019, saying there was no way to enforce the cap.
What kind of society do we want to have? Is it one where pricing is constantly calibrated to capitalize on the maximum that somebody will spend?
From sporting events to major concerts, the ticketing industry has become a serious frustration for consumers.
The big problem in Canada is we do not have federal legislation regulating the resale of tickets to any event. The open market rules most of the time.
Just last week, Ticketmaster promised to crack down on large-scale ticket resellers, but any changes are unlikely to come in time for Blue Jays fans. Nisha Patel, CBC News, Toronto.
Canada's main stock index closed over 90 points higher after reversing losses from earlier in the day, while U.S. markets lost ground. Here's a look at the numbers as we head to break.
This weather update is brought to you in part by Atlantic Lottery's iGames. Play hundreds of games on the Atlantic Lottery app or at alc.ca.
All right, back to wrap things up. You have to think with the windiness that we're experiencing, there'll be fewer leaves on the trees.
I think
after
so.
We're done.
More leaves on the lawns.
That time of year for sure.
Yeah.
But curious about the Ryan's picks tonight.
Yeah, still getting a lot of great pictures of the leaves on the trees. For now, have a look at this one. Beautiful shot, of course. They're all beautiful. We're zooming in on Lunenburg County. This is Spondo Lake. I do not believe we've been here before.
I don't remember that. No. Oh, wow. Glad we went.
Kathy, thank you so much for this. Love the reds in here. Just a terrific picture.
Are they still there, do you think?
I think so. For now. I think this was taken today or maybe yesterday, but a recent pick for sure. Thank you to Kathy for that. Ryan's picks at cbc.ca. There's the radar, and rolling through the southwest, you can see more than a couple of lightning detections there from our lightning detection system. So yeah, definitely some rumbles of thunder. Shelburne County pushing up into the interior parts of the province, and likely those will rumble through the valley in an hour or two. As you can see, that line will work its way from west to east, so the risk for lightning and some thunder overnight tonight will cross the province, and a risk even into the early morning hours of tomorrow for you folks in Cape Breton. You may be awoken by a rumble. So the sky's clearing pretty quickly though for Thursday. Isolated risk for a shower bubbling up over the southwest of the province tomorrow and into the Bay of Fundy, Cumberland County, Colchester County areas into the late afternoon and evening, as I mentioned earlier. Then that line will spark a shower in through Cape Breton overnight into Friday morning, and then that will clear away, and we're looking at pretty quiet conditions then after that. We will see maybe a slight risk for a shower in Cape Breton on Saturday afternoon in the Northumberland shore. So there's the forecast for tomorrow. Again, those winds go back to southwest, and we are looking at the Friday forecast, quieter winds, that chance for shower in Cape Breton, and a quick look at that 7-day forecast. You can see pretty quiet weekend, temperatures back to seasonal, Tom.
All good. Okay, thanks, Ryan. An incredible clarinet performance to show you now by a British woman with Parkinson's disease during an operation on her brain. Denise Bacon was diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2014. It's affected her ability to walk, swim, play her clarinet. Doctors at King's College in London carried out a 4-hour operation to try and improve her mobility.
Her main goal, to be able to play music again. Bacon says the procedure has allowed her to move her hands more easily, and she's delighted to be able to play her clarinet again off the operating table.
That is incredible.
Unreal.
That's it for us tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Good night.